Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leader in rushing, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. It is December 30th, and we got a little bit of breaking news here. Not necessarily Packers breaking news, but there's already a lot of rumors starting to swirl. A lot of Packer fans are voicing their opinion on an available player that was just released by the Dallas Cowboys, a former All-Pro cornerback and Trevon Diggs. We're going to dive into it. We're going to give our opinion on whether or not we think the Packers should sign someone like Trevon Diggs, who has a little bit of ties there with the Packers in terms of they've got Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons and Trevon Diggs were very good friends on the Dallas Cowboys roster. And on the other side, you know, there's a reason they let him go. He wasn't playing great football. We'll dive into all the numbers, talk about what it may or may not mean for the Green Bay Packers. Before we get into all that, if you would, do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your day. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live. All right, let's waste no time, man. Let's get into it. The big news of the day. I first seen it come across the wire from Ari Mirov over on X. He tweeted out, breaking, the Cowboys are releasing cornerback Trevon Diggs per Todd Archer. Okay, so make sure you guys go give that a like, a retweet, all that good stuff. Let's support those guys for breaking the news. But again, Trevon Diggs, when you hear the name, you've probably got some people are like, whoa, Trevon Diggs is available, you know? And you think about how our defense has struggled here lately with all the injuries that have piled up, right? Why did he get released? That's the first question. Do we have an answer to that, right? Was it just his play? Was it a combination of things, right? Is he still playing at an all-pro level? Was that something that was just kind of lightning in a bottle? Did he play at an all-pro level for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? How, you know what I'm saying? So when you kind of take everything, you got to put all this information into one basket, and you got to make an educated decision on whether or not you would add him to your roster. And again, that's what we try to do on this particular program. We like to kind of look at things through the eyes, through the lens, through the viewpoint of the team, the front office, the coaching staff, and the players in the locker room, right? We try to give that kind of opinion, not just our personal opinion on whether we like a player or not, kind of look at the whole picture, if that makes sense, right? So let's I see the chat's already on fire. Appreciate everybody jumping in here. You guys talk about it in there. Let everyone know your opinion on this potential signing for the Packers, as obviously he's available. Now, why is he available, right? Which leads me to the next tweet here, which Tom Pelissero put out, and it kind of perked my ears up a little bit like, okay, what is going on here? As Tom Pelissero tweeted out, my understanding is Diggs' release was not a result of a specific incident. That's good news, right? He didn't go in there and slap somebody in the facility. It was the culmination of multiple factors spread over time. That's not good news. Okay. That said, he's been a knucklehead for quite some time, right? Including both performance and other elements. What in the world does other elements mean? That's the big question, right? The team felt it was best for both Trevon and the Cowboys to move on at this point. So what does that mean? Does anybody got any rumors in the chat? Does anybody got any scuttlebutt in here? Let us know if you know anything about why did they let him go, man? What was the reason for this? And again, it sounds like the way that tweet is structured, there's been some problems in the past. I know that's what Jason Wise is saying here in the chat. Equals locker room problem. Could be, right? Now, keep in mind, and I'm trying to keep, again, you guys probably know which direction I'm going, whether I would sign him or not. We'll talk about that here in a second, and we'll kind of break the numbers down. But if I were to play devil's advocate for just a second, remember, Micah Parsons had this little cloud over his head too, like, oh yeah, he's not a good locker room guy. He's got the podcast, and his player and his teammates don't like him, and blah blah blah. All that ended up being complete BS, right? Been a great locker room guy when he got to Green Bay. The teammates love him. He completely revamped everything when he got there. He was just an absolute hit, right? So what is the locker room problem? That's the big question right now. Also, J. Cole mentioned something very important here, very interesting, not important, but interesting. That was his brother that got in trouble for assault allegations. Don't know if he is involved. See, that's another thing too. It's awful weird that Stefon Diggs, all of a sudden, bang, a report comes out from an incident that evidently happened on December 2nd that charges were filed on allegedly, I was going to say allegedly, on Trevon Diggs for choking somebody or something, right? So assault charges have been filed there, or at least the early process of that. I know his lawyer was on via a Skype call or a phone call with the judge with the court system this morning, if I understood correctly, from Boston 25, I think was reporting on that. Isn't it weird that pops up with Diggs, Trevon Diggs, and then his brother Trevon Diggs gets released a few hours later? Am I the only one that thinks that's kind of strange, right? And like I said, don't know if he was involved. We have no reason to believe he's involved, other than that's just a weird situation, right? Jerk Tomez in the chat says drama. Hey, I'm with you, man. I am with you. So again, let's see what else we got. He says injuries, so maybe there's been some injury problems there as well. Let's see here, Hector. This seems to be the common theme on Twitter. Just combing through and looking at some of the comments around whether the Packers should sign someone like Trevon Diggs. It seems like everybody's like, hey, man, for 400, 500,000, which I think is what the cap hit would be if you sign him to a minimum contract. As Hector says here in the chat, we should put him on a prove-it deal. I mean, it's hard to argue with that, right? What do you got to lose? I can understand that standpoint. Now, would he accept that? I don't know, right? I don't know at all. So just kind of combing through here. Yeah, absolutely we will. Jason says, Clayton, can we look at his PFF grade? We'll look at everything. We'll look at the passer rating when targeted too, okay? Which is something that Reza, you're out of control. Reza says we needed that aggression. Sign him. LMAO. No, we don't need that kind of aggression, sir. That will not be tolerated on this particular program. So let's look at all the information. So I immediately, you know how I nerd out over this stuff. I try to make an educated decision on whether or not I would want a player. I am amazed at how many people just jump right in and said, do it, without even looking at any of the numbers. And everybody can fan how they want. But I said, Trevon Diggs has been released by the Cowboys. Should the Packers sign him? Let's take a look. If Diggs was on the Packers roster, here is where he would rank. Now, you guys know we cover all the bases. We like to watch the tape. We look at some of the NFL Pro data. Passer rating when targeted is one of my favorite stats. Just like passer rating, I feel like is a good starting point for how a quarterback's performing. It's not the end all be all, right? But if you were to sort stats in the quarterbacks of what's their passer rating, that gives you a good indicator. Okay, these top 20. Now let's dig a little deeper, right? Let's look at the adjusted completion percentage. How accurate are they? Let's look at their decision making in terms of protecting the football. Let's see. I like to look at the win-loss total. I know some people don't like to do that. I like to know, all right, are they winning ball games with them at the helm? Because that means they got to be making some consistent decisions that is making a little bit of a difference for the team they're on, right? So I like passer rating when targeted for defensive players, and more specifically defensive backs and in coverage linebackers, stat backers, things like that. So passer rating when targeted. If you're a Trevon Diggs fan, you might want to look away. A perfect 158.3 is what quarterbacks passer rating is when they target Trevon Diggs. So now let's cross-check that. PFF grade. If he were on the Packers roster, first of all, that 158.3 obviously would be dead last for the Packers, okay? If he were on the Packers roster, the PFF grade, 56.1, he would be the 8th best defensive back. He would be the worst corner and the 8th best defensive back, with only Zane Anderson having a lower or a worse passer rating, or I'm sorry, PFF grade, a lower PFF grade. I think it's in the 40s if I remember correctly. So I've got all the images here. We'll just take a quick little look. So Trevon Diggs, this is where he's at on the season. Okay, his PFF grade starting in week 1, and it looks like he did miss time after week 6 all the way up to week 16, but his PFF grades were a 70, solid, right? 42, 55, 83. That was against Green Bay. Don't you love it? 61, 47, 52, 55 for a PFF grade this year of 56.1. Okay, now let's go to the career. Does this match? Does that 56.1 match up with the consistent look of his career? I like to look at it that way, right? And when you take a look at that, let's start his rookie year in 2020, 62. That's a little bit higher than at 56, right? 58, that's right there in the ballpark. 67, all right, we're getting better. 80.7, that was probably the all-pro year there in 2023, I would imagine. 80.7, that's a solid grade because it's a great grade. Then in 2024, right back down to a 56. This year, 56. One of these do not belong, right? One of these don't. One of these are out of line here is what I'm trying to say, okay? 80.7 probably don't belong there. Looks like a little bit of a fluky year. Now, again, why the people that are saying, hey, I say give him a shot for a minimum, I can understand that. What are you hurting, right? You got Kamal Hadden out for the year now, right? And when you kind of look at everything globally, would it hurt to add a veteran in there and someone who's friends with Micah? Sure, as long as there's no off the field problems. Now, if you're one that goes, hey man, if everywhere you go it smells like crap, you might want to check your boot. I can understand that too, man. Maybe he brings a little too much drama to him everywhere he goes. Let's go to the next image here. So when you look at the PFF grades for the Packers defensive back room, and we're going overall defensive grade here. You can sort it by coverage if you guys want to go check it out. But McKinney, 80.6, Evan Williams, 70.8, Kamal Hadden, God, it sucks that he got hurt, man. And I know it was only 37 snaps, but I really want to see him get a few more snaps. 67.6, Keyshawn Nixon, 67.2. Out of our healthy cornerbacks, I know everybody wants to rake Keyshawn Nixon over the coals, and I've been critical too, not playing the assignment. He's got the highest PFF grade at a 67.2. Carrington Ballantyne, 65.7. Javon Bullard, 63.5. Nate Hobbs, 61.7. And then, of course, you got the safeties, Katano Ladapo at 60.9 and Zane Anderson at 49.5. Oladapo only 2 snaps there. Zane Anderson only 22. But again, where would he fall in? Excuse me. Trevon Diggs would fall in next to last in 8th place, essentially. Well, I guess it would be 9th place, adding, there would be 10 on this total list. He would be 9th. Zane Anderson will be 10 with the PFF grade. And again, when it comes to passer rating when targeted, you'll notice the column over there says NFL. That's the passer rating when targeted for all of our corners and all of our DBs in general. So if you just focus on the corners, the best one on the roster in terms of, passer rating when targeted, according to PFF's statistics here, Kamal Hadden at a 91.7, Javon Bullard, 92.7, Keyshawn Nixon, 104.7, Carrington Ballantyne, 109, and then Nate Hobbs, of course, at a 125.3. So the 158.3 of Trevon Diggs would be dead last on the roster. I don't say this to try to deter people from getting excited about potentially signing someone like Trevon Diggs. If, again, there's nothing off the field that would keep you from doing that. I'm just simply laying out all the details here. The idea that he's going to make this cornerback room significantly better, you got to show me. The way he's played this year has been really, really bad, really bad. And again, when targeted is the stat I like. If you're just going off PFF grades, you can go, okay, did someone else miss an assignment? Is there a little bit of muddy water there? We talk about PFF all the time in that regard. However, when you look at it as a whole, that means he was the closest defender. They were targeting him, and the quarterbacks are perfect at a 158.3. Man, that's just not a good look, in my opinion. So, again, that's how everything looks for the Trevon Diggs front. I'm curious to know what everybody thinks in the chat, and I apologize for the voice, guys. I don't know how long this is going to go on. We're fighting it, but I feel like we're losing this battle for sure. So let us know in the comments. What do you think? Would you want to sign him right now? Everybody in the comments, let me know yes or no as quick as possible. And we'll kind of hit these rapid fire here. Let's see here. Enrique, I think it's right. Enrique, I hope I'm saying that right, bud. We need him or our cornerbacks sucks. Well, as we showed you, this year he sucks worse than our cornerbacks. So again, I can understand, though, giving him a shot. I got you. Joe Pack Joe says in all caps, yes, sign him. There's an interview with Diggs when he asked if Micah tried to recruit him, and all he did was laugh. All right, got it. J. Cole says, I just want us to sign a damn corner. I don't care who it is. We have 3 right now on the team. That's a valid point, too. Valid point right there. Ken James thought that was funny, obviously. Josh in the chat says, yes. Joe Pack Joe, all caps with a Z at the end of the hills, yes. Josh Martin says no. All right, got it. J. Cole says with these injuries, all right. Jert says yes. Everybody, you see, guys, the majority of the people in here, large majority, are saying yes. All right. Lowe's Mel, hope I'm saying that right. Yes. Or can he tackle? I can't be any worse than what we've seen, right? That's for sure. Zach says correct, J. Cole. Josh says yes. We desperately need depth. So yes, says Chuck Goodman. So it looks like everybody, man, is kind of they're on board with the signing here if the Packers were to make this move. So if you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments, would you sign him? Is it, as I said right here about Mike, the juice is not worth the squeeze. Maybe you feel that way, right? Would you like to have him on the Packers? Would you not want him in the locker room? You're a little bit worried that maybe something might resurface there in terms of off the field stuff. We got to kind of let it play out a little bit too. I guarantee you, Goody's probably kicking the tires, or at least getting his investigators behind the scenes trying to figure out why they would cut loose a former All-Pro, other than the fact that it does look like he's been cheeks on the field this year. But let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, and click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. All right, let's shift gears, and I want to talk about two quick little topics here. All right, wide receivers. Jacob Morley, I think it was Jacob Morley. Yeah, Jacob Morley put a tweet out earlier today, and I thought this was awesome. It kind of went hand in hand with the receiver conversation we had yesterday. We were laying out, if you guys missed the show, I'll try to attach it at the end of this video. But we did a show yesterday where we talked about, we were kind of projecting the wide receiver room in terms of contractual obligations for the Green Bay Packers. And this is what GMs do. They're modeling the roster out 2, 3, 4 years in advance. And they're kind of saying, okay, here's who we got under contract. We see the upside here. So this will end up being our number one. This will end up being our number two unless something goes awry. Okay, we'll need to add bodies probably this year. So let's send our scouts out there and go heavy at the wide receiver position this particular year. You know, they kind of model everything out, right? And we laid out kind of the structure of how we would see this playing out. And really what we came away with was sign Christian Watson to a long-term extension next year. Be ready to sign Jaden Reed if he can stay healthy. You want him to a long-term deal. You'll let Romeo Doubs walk in free agency. You'll let Tay Wicks walk in free agency, not next year, but the year after. He's under contract 1 more year. So essentially you'll be moving forward with Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, and then the following year, you'll have to make a decision on Matthew Golden. And then by then, you'll probably be coming to the end or close to, at least on the back half, where you could, move some cap out, maybe play a little cash over cap with Christian Watson's contract. Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed will kind of be the future of the wide receiver room after Christian Watson's time's done. So that's kind of what we came away with, was those are the three you want to kind of build the offense around: Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and our boy Matthew Golden. And I think Matthew Golden, I'm not concerned. I see the tweets and it just cracks me up how people are they're just box score watchers. Like, if you watch the tape, you see Matthew Golden's going to be a great wide receiver. It's just working him into the offense. He hasn't been completely healthy. He's been banged up here or there. He'll play 5 snaps this game, 8 snaps that game. And I think all that's going to come out in the wash, to be honest with you. But those are the three that we kind of build everything around, right? Well, Jacob Morley did a little bit of legwork here for us, and I thought this was awesome. So shout out to him. I seen the tweet come across. Quarterback rating when targeted. Here are the Packers receivers. So again, yesterday we talked about PFF grades. We talked about a little bit about production. We talked about Christian Watson and where he's really sticking out, the yards per reception. I think he's 3rd or 4th best in the league. He was top 5 in some really, really important categories, right? I didn't even go to passer rating when targeted, or in this case, QB rating when targeted. I think the QBR is different than the passer rating. You guys do your own research there. Nonetheless, the higher the number, the better. Packers wide receivers. Savion Williams leading the way, 132.5, only 10 targets, though. Maybe we're overlooking Savion a little bit. Again, it's just 10 targets. That could go south real quick, right? But maybe he's going to be a bigger part of this offense. And we didn't even mention him as 3 of the cornerstones there, right? Like the 3 wide receivers I would have out there in 11 personnel 2 years from now, obviously being Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, and Jaden Reed. Savion Williams sprinkled in as a nice little number 4 if he continues at the pace he's going. I mean, a 132.5 on 10 targets. Again, very, very minute sample size there, but I'm excited to see what Savion can do as he continues to get healthy here. Christian Watson, number 2, no surprise there, at a 122.6 on 55 targets. So Christian Watson's a dog. Just got to get him under contract. Number 3, or keep him under contract, I should say. Jaden Reed, 121.0 on 22 targets. So Jaden Reed is the old Jaden Reed. Just got to get him the ball more. You got to get all these guys the ball more, right? Romeo Doubs is going to hurt a little bit if you end up letting him walk in free agency. And you guys know I've been pretty vocal. I think that's probably the way you got to model your roster out, because you can't pay 3 and 4 wide receivers on your team. You just can't do it, right? You can, but you're gonna take a huge hit in the trenches, and Lord knows we can't take any more hits in the trenches. We should be spending more money in the trenches, in my opinion. With offensive line, defensive line, etc. So Romeo Doubs, a 112.7 on 83 targets. I think he's going to get paid a good little contract in the offseason. I'm kind of holding out a little bit of hope that the market ain't there for him. And I hate saying that because it sounds like I'm rooting against the guy to make more money. You know what I mean? This is the odd part about doing a podcast, is like, these are human beings. As a Packer fan, man, I'd love to get him back for $4 million. He heard me say that. He'd be like, man, you can go to HE double hockey sticks, right? So maybe he'll go out there in the market, and the market's only $7 million. We come back at $5 million with a little bit more guaranteed than the other offer. Maybe you get him back on a cheap deal. I would love to have Romeo Doubs back on a cheap deal, right? But I do think that someone's going to overpay him because he's shown hands. He's shown good route running ability. The concussions will probably drive his value down a little bit. The 1-game suspension will probably drive the value down just a touch. But you guys know how it is when you're in free agency, man. Teams, they're trying to smooze you to get you to sign the deal. They're not going to go, yeah, we would give you more. Let's say you got 3 teams offering, and one of the teams go, we would give you more money, but you got suspended for a game. He's probably going to go, y'all can kick rocks, right? So we'll see what happens with Romeo Doubs. But again, 112.7, pretty good. Matthew Golden, 93.6 on 37 targets. Again, passer rate or QB rating when targeted. We've seen some of the throws be off. Matthew Golden, I think what I've seen on tape is he's got hands. He's got great hands. He's got a good quick twitch, good route runner. He doesn't understand the choice aspect of the routes that he's running in the offense yet. You've noticed that a couple of times. He earlier in the year, I remember he ran a guy down the seam. He broke off his route, ran a guy down the seam, almost right into Christian Watson. Luckily, Jordan Love showed elite accuracy, feathered the pass in perfect. So it was kind of one of those things that it didn't really bite you in the rear end. But little things like that, he needs to clean up. And that's going to come with time. Like that's stuff that every receiver were making mistakes. You guys remember Aaron Rodgers being frustrated with these young receivers, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, their rookie year. Same thing. Takes time to understand, that hey, I should run that post route at 17 yards instead of 15 yards because of the way the weak side backer is lined up just inside the hash. Like little details like that that's going to come with time to get on the same page with Jordan Love, who Jordan Love right now he's on it. He really, really is showing perfect ball placement and when he's healthy, of course, and making good decisions, in my opinion. So Dontavion Wicks, 86.6 on 44 targets. And then Bo Melton on a 65.3 on 11 targets. So I'm not going to lie, man. This bottom one, it pissed me off when I seen it. Bo Melton, 65.3 on 11 targets. It bothers me because am I the only one? I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. Y'all check me in the chat here, okay? Is it just me, or does it seem like almost every week when the game's on the freaking line, we end up targeting Bo Melton in the fourth quarter? Is that just me? I feel like half of his targets have come in key game, key situations to win the ball game, and that should never happen. It just should never happen. Not that the quarterback should refuse to throw to him, but I'm going, why does he always end up in a spot where Jordan or Malik is targeting him in this case, Clayton Tune last week, right? And the pass was off a little bit, but again, he should have caught it. Maybe it wasn't off. I may be misremembering that. That's all a big fog after all the injuries started happening. But I know the ball was tipped, bounced up, got intercepted. But again, we're targeting Bo Melton with the game on the line. Am I the only person in here? Let me see if anybody's commented on here. Rob in the chat, I'm with you. Yeah, Stephanie says the same thing, right? Agreed on Melton, says Packer Moto fan. Yeah, Chuck says the same thing. I'm glad it wasn't just me. And again, I know Matt LaFleur isn't going out there and going, hey, guys, listen, gets down to a 4th down here, 3rd and 8, game on the line, look for Bo. I know he ain't doing that, but it's just he's consistently getting rotated in at those moments. That is on the coaches. Maybe the guys are more banged up than we know, right? But as Coach Lynn says, that's a valid point too, right? Bo might be our fastest player. I think he is the fastest player. Christian Watson's dad said that when him and Christian were working out in the offseason, Bo Melton and Christian Watson, I think he said they laser clocked him at a 4.140, which is wild to think about. So maybe there's something we're overlooking there. But again, man, that has nothing to do with a spacing concept, right, Coach? Like at the end of the game, they run a spacing concept there. And I just don't think of Bo being the guy that I want to get the ball to in a clutch situation, So, yeah. Steve knows the policy, says Clayton is faster than Bo. Clayton back in the day had some wheels on the base pass playing baseball. I don't even know if he's really talking about me or maybe there's a player I'm overlooking here named Clayton, but yeah, I had some wheels on the base pass. Nowadays, boys, it's hard to get up off the couch. I ain't gonna lie. So it's the way it is. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that felt that way with Bo. It just felt like in those crucial situations, that's what was going on there. So with that being said, just a little receiver talk for you. I thought it would be interesting to dive into that. I'm curious to know what everybody thinks in the comments. If you're watching this video back later, let us know how you feel about those passer rating when targeted when it comes to the wide receivers. And is there anything we're missing there, man? Or maybe you have a differing opinion on Bo. Maybe you've seen something on the tape that we disagree with, and that's totally fine. No, I think Bo should get more targets. Especially in a room where the wide receivers have been banged up most of the year. I can understand, kind of doing what you can do in those situations, but I don't know, it's a little frustrating for me, and it really is, man. So let us know in the comments what you think about the wide receiver room. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live over here in the future. Yeah, Rob says, I'll take Prime Clayton over anyone. Oh, boy, I'll tell you, man, that's a mess. You ever look back? I shouldn't. All right, we'll do it. You ever look back? I'm 43 years old. You ever look back and go, man, when I was 22, what was I doing? Oh, yeah. Yeah. And just you can feel your face getting red from being an absolute knucklehead, as you're growing up. And obviously, it's just the decisions we make. And obviously, everything is geared around really what it comes down to is ego. And I think players, it applies to everybody. It's not just players, right? It's anybody in general, just in your everyday life, right? It's the UDFC, right? The what do they call it? The underdeveloped frontal cortex, right? People going, what are you talking about, Clayton? That's the frontal cortex of your brain hasn't fully developed yet as you're younger, right? And they say that that's a direct reflection of ego. Like your ego you haven't matured enough to get your ego out of the way. Boy, I look back in my 20s and go, yeah, that mistake was ego. That mistake was ego. That mistake was ego. It's all over the place, man, for sure. So anyway, there's a little, I don't know what you call that, psychological talk. What is that? What's the proper term there? I think it's the meds talking now. It's time to wrap this stream up. Anything else you guys got in the comments? Any questions, any topics, anything at all before we move on? I was going to talk a little Jordan Morgan. We'll hold that till later. I can feel the voice starting to go here. But anything in the comments, man? Stephanie, I miss my 20s. We all do, Steph. You kidding me? Lord have mercy. Yeah. Joe, something was wrong with Clayton's medulla oblongata. Mandy says there's still something wrong with that. She just got to the point where she walks away from the conversation. I don't blame her one bit. So that's it, guys. We're going to wrap it up right there. We may be back a little bit later today. If any other news breaks, we might dive into some other stuff too with the guys. I just got to kind of see how everything unfolds here. You guys know New Year's Eve's tomorrow, so we're round 2 here, getting ready for people. We're actually going to someone else's home tomorrow, family members. So it's going to be a wild time. Everybody's schedule's kind of jam-packed. So we'll see if we can do another stream tonight. If not, we'll see y'all tomorrow. But really appreciate everybody hopping in here on such short notice. Thank y'all for making us a part of your afternoon. If you're new here, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon. Everybody smash that like button for spin those laces or kick that soccer ball, whatever the heck it is right now. All right. Yeah, make sure that you guys are subbed to the channel, and every time we do go live in the future. Thank you, Steph. We'll get better soon. We're trying. Lord knows we're trying. So me and Mandy went out to lunch earlier today, and boy, I was just like, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get home. Luckily, she drove separate. She said, it's funny too. Yeah, you ready to go home? Okay, yeah, we'll go home. Get in the car. I get a text. She's in a separate vehicle. I'm going to Hobby Lobby. All right, I'm going home. So funny how that works. One last comment there. iRock says, sign him yesterday. I think he's talking about our boy, Trevon Diggs. I am eager to see what everybody's comments say for sure, because it's going to be really, really interesting to see if the Packers kick the tires on that for sure. So that being said, we're out of here, guys. We will be back either later tonight or tomorrow. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day. Hit that like button for us. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack Go.
Here we go. We're out.
Bye, guys.